The message arrives in the middle of something ordinary. You're halfway through your first coffee, standing by the window of your office, watching early traffic crawl through the city below. It's quiet, predictable, the kind of morning that tricks you into believing your life is simple. Your phone vibrates once on the desk. Unknown number, you don't answer immediately, you never do. You let it ring twice, 3 times, then pick it up just before it stops. Talk! There's no greeting on the other end, just a voice you recognize instantly, calm and stripped of anything human. They've taken him? You don't ask who, you already know. Your client list isn't public, but it's not random either. There are only a handful of men in the world who could trigger that tone. How long, you ask? 40 minutes. You close your eyes for a second, that's bad. 40 minutes means it's already gone too far. It means whoever took him wasn't improvising. Location, off-grid, we're tracing, but listen carefully. The voice pauses just enough to sharpen the next words. They're not asking for money. Now you turn from the window. What are they asking for? You. Silence settles in your office like a weight. You hang up without another word. Your name isn't on any firm directory. There's no website, no public cases, no courtroom photos. Officially, you don't exist in the legal system. Unofficially, you're the only lawyer certain men trust when the rules stop applying. You don't defend innocence. You manage consequences. You walk back to your desk, already calculating. The man they took is worth at least $9 billion on paper, probably double that off the books. But money isn't leverage here. If they wanted ransom, they would have asked already. They want access. They want protection. They want what you represent. You open the drawer and pull out a second phone. This one never rings. You're the only one who calls out. You dial once, it connects immediately. I need a trace, you say. Live. A pause. Then who? You give the name. Another pause, longer this time. That's not a trace, the voice replies quietly. That's a war. I didn't ask for commentary. A breath. Then send me everything. You hang up, already moving. Your driver doesn't ask questions when you slide into the back seat. He just pulls into traffic, merging smoothly as you start sending encrypted packets from your phone. You're not thinking about law, not yet. You're thinking about systems. Everything you've built operates in layers. Shell companies, silent agreements, political favors buried under years of distance, insurance policies disguised as friendships, and above all, access. You don't fight problems head-on. You redirect them until they collapse under their own weight. But this is different. This is someone reaching directly for you. You check the time, 52 minutes. The first call comes in before you reach the bridge. We have a signal. You lean forward slightly. Where? Moving. They're not stationary. Industrial zone, east side. But listen, I'm listening. They're broadcasting on an old frequency. Analog, that's deliberate. Of course it is. Digital leaves trails. Analog forces proximity. They want a meeting, the voice continues. 1 hour, you alone. And if I don't go, a pause, we lose him. You nod even though they can't see you. Send coordinates. The building is exactly what you expect. Abandoned, concrete, rust bleeding through every exposed surface. The kind of place that disappears in plain sight because no one wants to look too closely. Your driver stops a block away. You wait here, you say. He nods once. You step out. No weapon. No visible protection. That's part of the message. You walk the rest of the distance alone, every step measured, every window watched. You don't rush, you don't hesitate. You enter through a side door hanging half open. Inside, the air is stale, quiet, then a voice. Close the door. You do. The click echoes louder than it should. Walk forward. You follow the sound. He's sitting in a chair in the center of the room. No mask. No attempt to hide. That tells you everything. This isn't about survival. It's about leverage. Behind him, tied but alive, is your client. Bruised, conscious, eyes locked on you with a mix of relief and something else. Fear. Good, the man says. You came. You stop a few feet away. You made it clear I didn't have a choice. He smiles slightly. Everyone has a choice. You just understand consequences better than most. You glance once at your client, then back. What do you want? No money, he says. No negotiation. Then this ends quickly, you reply. He leans forward. I want you. A beat. Not permanently, he adds. Temporarily. A service, you don't react. Be specific. There's a case, he says. A situation, we need someone who can reshape outcomes. Of course, you're not a lawyer to them. You're a weapon. You kidnapped one of the most protected men in the world, you say evenly, to hire me. Yes, that's inefficient. It got your attention. You consider him. You could have asked. He shakes his head. You say no to request. You don't say no to pressure. He's not wrong. That irritates you. What's the situation? You ask. He studies you for a moment, then gestures slightly. Untie him. One of the shadows behind you moves. Your client is cut free, stumbling slightly but staying upright. Go, the man says. Your client doesn't hesitate. He moves past you out of the room, disappearing into the corridor. You don't turn. You keep your eyes on the man in front of you. You just lost your leverage, you say. No, he replies calmly. I just proved I don't need it. That's new and dangerous. Talk, you say. The situation unfolds in pieces, a government investigation, offshore accounts. Names that aren't supposed to connect, suddenly starting to, and at the center a man you've heard of but never met, powerful, careful, now exposed. They're building a case, he says, slow, quiet. But it's coming, and you want it stopped. I want it redirected. You nod slightly, that's more realistic. Why me? Because you don't fight evidence, he says. You rearrange it. You almost smile, that's exactly what you do. Timeline, 72 hours, that's tight. Resources, anything you need. You study him again. And if I refuse, he doesn't answer immediately, then quietly, you won't. You leave the building with more questions than answers. Your client is already gone, extracted the moment he stepped outside. Your phone vibrates. Are you alive? The voice asks. Yes. What happened? They hired me. Silence. You're joking. No. Another pause. Are you taking it? You look back once at the building. Yes. The next 72 hours erase any illusion of normalcy. You don't sleep. You don't stop moving. You start with the data. Transactions, shell layers, false trails. You map everything out, building a structure in your mind that most people would need teams to understand. Then you start pulling threads. A judge with a past favor, a prosecutor with a hidden liability, a witness whose timeline doesn't quite align. You don't destroy the case, you bend it. Small changes at first. A document delayed, a meeting rescheduled, a file misplaced just long enough to break momentum. Then bigger moves, you introduce doubt, you create alternative narratives. You give the system something easier to believe, because systems don't like complexity. They collapse toward simplicity, and you control what that simplicity looks like. On the second night you pause, just for a moment. You're alone in your office again, city lights stretching out below. Your reflection stares back at you in the glass. You look the same. But something feels different. This isn't just another client. This is someone who forced their way into your world, someone who understood how to reach you. That bothers you more than you expected. Your phone buzzes. Status. Progressing, you reply. Define progressing. You watch your reflection. It's no longer a clean case. A pause. Good. You end the call. By hour 60, the system starts shifting. You see it in the reports. Language changes. Confidence drops. What was once a straight line becomes fragmented. And once a case fragments, it rarely recovers. You make the final move carefully. A single piece of information placed exactly where it needs to be. Not enough to destroy, just enough to redirect. A new target, a new narrative. The pressure moves away from your client towards someone else, someone expendable. At hour 72, your phone rings. Unknown number, you answer. It's done, you say. I know, he replies. Of course he does. You work fast. I work precisely. A small pause. Good, you wait. We're finished, he says. Are we? Another pause. No, he admits. We're just beginning. You don't like the sound of that. You got what you wanted. And now I know where to find you. Your grip tightens slightly on the phone. That wasn't part of the agreement. There was no agreement, he says calmly. There was a demonstration. Silence stretches. Then, you're the best at what you do, he continues. Which means eventually everyone will come to you. You already know that. That includes us. You look out at the city again. And if I say no next time? This time his answer comes without hesitation. You won't. The line goes dead. You stand there for a long moment, phone still in your hand. The city hasn't changed. Traffic still moves. Lights still flicker. Everything looks the same. But it is. Something shifted, not in the world, in your position within it. You were always in control. Always the one behind the curtain, pulling threads no one else could see. Now someone else has seen them. And worse, they know how to pull back. You set the phone down slowly. For the first time in a long time, you're not thinking about your clients. You're thinking about yourself, about exposure, about risk. About what happens when the only lawyer trusted by the world's most dangerous men becomes the most valuable target in the system. Because that's what you are now. Not just a solution, a prize. You turn away from the window, already planning, already adjusting. Because if there's one thing you understand better than anyone, it's that once you're inside this system, you don't get to leave. You just move higher or disappear.